Hello, everyone, and welcome. Even though none of you are in here yet, because I just started it. Not only did I just start it, but I also did not announce it. I actually told my Discord server that I was shooting to do one at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, although that did not happen. My wife had a doctor's appointment that we actually forgot about until last night. So I didn't actually get into work today until around 11:30, and then I didn't want to work for an hour and then punch out right afterwards, so I just brought some lunch to work, and as soon as I got in, I stayed at work until now. So kind of a short day today. Very short day at work today. But it's a good end of the week. Got done what I needed to get done. Life is good. So just trying to come up with some stuff, some unimportant, inconsequential small talk to engage in while I'm waiting for people to show up. Hello. My screen says there are 3 of you in here. Oh, it just dropped to 2. I guess that third gentleman was not impressed. But to the 2 of you who are in here, thank you very much for joining. Oh, and it just dropped down to 1 person. Wow, I don't have good retention, so it seems. So whoever's in here, the 1 person who is in here, thank you very much for joining. I would love to hear what you have to say. How are things going with you guys? Oh, somebody just gave it a like. Thank you so much for giving the stream a like. I really appreciate it. Elmer's Mind Games is the first person to chime into the chat. He says, "Good afternoon, sir." Good afternoon to you, Elmer's Mind Games. Where do you happen to be from, Elmer's Mind Games? Because Elmer's Mind Games seems like an American, or at least some English-speaking name, although you included the word "sir" on the end of your "good afternoon," which is, in my experience, is very common among the Indian population. Indian people are very, very polite in general. Of course, I'm not trying to make a bold statement about all people from a certain country. Lots of exceptions, but my experience with people of Indian descent has been very pleasant, and they always use the word "sir," which is very nice. It's not totally necessary. You can call me, anything. You can call me by my name. You can call me dude. But anyway, Elmer's Mind Games says, I just changed my name from Another View. I'm from Michigan, USA. Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember you. I remember Another View. May I ask why the name change? I thought Another View was pretty cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Elmer's Mind Games is also a cool name. Don't know what it means. I also noticed that it's Elmer's without an apostrophe. So it's not like belonging to an individual named Elmer. You're talking about multiple, not one Elmer, but several. 2 or more Elmers. Is that what you mean without the apostrophe? Are you trying to not to imply some sort of possession with the lack of an apostrophe in your name? I don't know. I'm confused. What the hell am I even talking about? I don't know. I'm just rambling. Just waiting for some more people to come in. But yeah, man, how are things? Didn't think an apostrophe was allowed, to be honest. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird with punctuation. I know you can't put punctuation in hashtags, which is a dilemma that I kind of faced. I wanted to put a apostrophe in a hashtag in a Facebook post because my father-in-law has been in town all week. He just left today, but he's been in town all week helping us build a new deck behind our house. So we have a front deck and we have a back deck. He's been helping us build a back deck, and I was going to use the hashtag "We're Not Worthy," which is a Wayne's World reference. When Wayne and Garth show up backstage to meet Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper is very, chill and pleasant. He says hello, and then, out of nowhere, Wayne and Garth are just like, "We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We suck!" Oh, it's such a good movie, Wayne's World. Early 90s movie, I think. It's good stuff. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it. It was, Mike Myers. This is before Austin Powers, but he's a funny guy. Silly, funny guy. Really good movie. Really funny. Dana Carvey is hilarious as Garth. And it's funny, Rob Lowe is actually kind of like the villain in that movie. He's kind of like the, the business corporate guy who wants to like take over and own everything. And it's like a, sort of a good versus evil story, Wayne's World. Good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But anyway, I wanted to put that hashtag in there. We're not worthy. We're spelled W-E apostrophe R-E. But punctuation marks don't really work well with hashtags. So I'll have to try to spell it without punctuation, and it'll say we're not worthy, W-E-R-E, with no apostrophe, not worthy, and hopefully people will get the picture, but I don't know. Wow, I'm really doing pretty well at rambling about inconsequential stuff, waiting for people to get in here. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah, I think, I can pull small talk out of my butt pretty easily. So, but yeah, as the title of the stream says, it's Ask Me Anything, so you guys are welcome to ask questions or even just make statements, start discussions, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about, chemistry or otherwise. I would love your participation in this. I really would. That would be excellent. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I am running on fumes. I have been so busy, not getting a whole lot of sleep. Busy. And this weekend's going to be busy too. My father-in-law just left town, and my mom is coming to town. She was supposed to be in town tonight, but she's having some problems with her air conditioner back at her house, which is, I won't say funny, because it's never funny to have problems with your air conditioner, but it's kind of a weird coincidence that I just recently had problems with my air conditioner and had to get it replaced, and now she's having problems with her air conditioner and has to get it replaced. So it's a strange sort of coincidence. I guess it's just the season for having AC problems. The sun is out, it's brutally hot, really puts that air conditioner to the test. And unfortunately, for both my air conditioner and my mom's air conditioner, they did not pass the test. Out with the old, in with the new. Wow, I got a whopping 3 concurrent viewers in here. Very much appreciated. Thank all 3 of you for being in here. You are more than welcome to type whatever you want in the chat. Participate. Elmer's Mind Games asks, how hot is it in South Carolina? Let me see what my car says on the temperature. 98 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what my car says. My car says that the temperature outside is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty warm. Pretty warm. Who am I kidding? It's not pretty warm. It's freaking hot! It is hot out here. But the humidity here isn't, I mean, it's still pretty humid up here, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. It is not as hot and humid as it is in Florida. Florida is, especially central Florida where I was, a good hour and a half or so away from the nearest beach. So we don't get a sea breeze that far away from the beach. And it is scorching hot. I mean, I would go take my garbage out, just around the house to take my garbage to the street and then come back drenched in sweat. At least here in South Carolina, when the sun goes down, like late at night or like early in the morning before the sun comes up, there's kind of a nice crisp chill to the air. I can sit outside and enjoy a coffee, and it's just, there's a little bit of that coolness, before the sun comes out. Not true in Florida. Florida does not get that in the summertime. It is hot at night, it is hot earlier in the morning, and it's blistering hot when the sun comes out. George Michael says, I just farted. Well, nicely done. I'm sure that felt amazing. Good job. Very cool. Very cool. Farts are funny. I'll always be kind of a man-child in that regard. Farts are just funny. There's no getting around it. come out of your butt, they make a trumpeting sound, and they stink. I mean, come on. That's just funny. I don't think I will ever grow out of finding farts funny. But thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. I did say ask me anything, so although I didn't say tell me anything, but nonetheless, I do appreciate your participation in the chat, so thank you very much. Davis John asks, what do you do for a living now? I do research and development on active pharmaceutical ingredients. I work for a very, very large biotech company, and this company has several sort of groups. They call them groups. They're like divisions within the company. I work in the pharmaceutical services group of this large company. So in terms of like what I actually do, like the hands-on stuff that I do, it's a lot of like organic laboratory techniques, you know, a lot of you know, benchtop reactions. I think the largest reaction that I've run here, and again, I'm still pretty new. I haven't even been here a year yet. And furthermore, my growth has sort of been stunted because a lot of our customers have shut down, and I haven't really had much opportunity to do a whole lot lately, although it's just starting now to pick back up. In terms of like the large, or what was I saying? I was saying the largest reactor that I've ever built and managed, I think was 32 liters, something like that. It's like basically like a big old round bottom flask with a drain valve at the bottom with 3 large necks on it, and I'd have like an overhead stir shaft going through the central neck with a stir shaft paddle or blade spinning around, stirring my stuff up. So that's probably, so yeah, just a lot of organic laboratory techniques, organic, you know, reactions, you know, distillation, plenty of chromatography, both thin layer chromatography and column chromatography, silica gel plugs, things like that. We use rotary evaporators a lot. Whenever we're, you know, done with a reaction, we need to get the solvent off. We'll, you know, hook it up to a rotary evaporator and, you know, pull a vacuum on it while it's spinning around in a water bath, and that helps to get the solvent off and dry it out. So that's kind of what I do. Just a lot of organic synthesis, and I don't have any real like creative control over the projects or anything like that. I just kind of you know, execute what I'm told to do. There's a little bit of creative leeway, like I can sort of build the apparatus the way that I think is most efficient. But other than that, I'm not really like an innovator. I'm just kind of like, you know, executing plans, you know, doing these, you know, multi-step reactions, and, you know, there's a lot of instrumentation, mostly HPLC, which stands for high pressure or high performance liquid chromatography. So, you know, you make a sample of your material, you dissolve it in a certain solvent, you put it in a vial with a puncturable septum cap on it, and you load it into an auto sampler, and you know, you tell the computer that you want to run the sample, and it, you know, has this auto sampler that just takes a little bit out, and it runs it on the instrument, and then you get a chromatogram, which you have to sort of manually integrate, which means you have to, you know, figure out which peaks, you know, because you'll get like a big chromatogram that has a bunch of peaks, and sometimes you'll get a lot of noise, so like you have to exclude those peaks, or you have to find which peaks are common between your sample and the blank, which is just the solvent by itself with no sample. So if your chromatogram has a peak that's also in your blank, then you wouldn't include that in your integration because that's just the solvent. You're not trying to measure the solvent. You're trying to get the purity of your target compound. So you would not include a solvent peak or absorption in that calculation. Does that answer your question? I hope it does. That's sort of the brief basic idea of what I do for a living. Elmer's Mind Games asks, I'm wondering, are you interested in electronics? Do you have a special PC to edit videos with? I'm in the process of building a PC right now for the first time. Oh, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think electronics are cool. You know, I don't really have much time for, you know, little pet projects like that. I've always wondered what it would be like, you know, to build my own PC and stuff like that. My older brother is pretty knowledgeable. Like, I think he built his own PC, and it's pretty nice. I don't really know much about that. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I just, it's interesting, but I'm not really interested in it enough to really push aside everything else that I do to focus hard on that. As far as the PC that I use to do my video editing with, I use a gaming laptop. It's an Asus, I think it's called Tough Gaming something or another. I got it last year, about a year ago. I got it on Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day. It's like $1,000 laptop. It was on sale on Amazon Prime Day for like $700, so I just scooped it up. I was really in the market for a new computer because my old one was just really slow. It couldn't keep up with video editing. It's just the software would just crash. Video editing, it's like once your video project starts to have multiple sort of layers of complexity to it, it uses up a lot of processor speed and RAM and all that good stuff, and my old computer just wasn't cutting it, so I upgraded to a gaming laptop, and it's been great. It works with I can edit my videos just fine on it, and it worked great. I love it. And of course, in my spare time, whenever I can, I'll hop on Steam and play some games, mostly Rocket League, although occasionally I'll play like Counter-Strike and stuff like that. So yeah, let's see. Hi, what's the correct definition of electron? I mean, I don't really have like the dictionary definition of it in front of me, and I'm sure that can be easily referenced in your chemistry textbook or just through a quick Google search. I mean, I can tell you a couple of properties of the electron. It carries a negative charge. I can't remember what the actual elementary charge is in coulombs. Coulombs are the international standard unit for electric charge. So it's negative. I can't remember the number. I used to know it, but I know where to find it. Sometimes finding the answers is just important as knowing them, perhaps even more important. But it's a negatively charged subatomic particle. It has a very, 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 very small mass compared to other subatomic particles like the proton or the neutron. The best way that scientists have currently been able to describe the electron is not only as behaving like a particle in the sense that it has a definite mass and a definite charge and this and that, but also as a wave. If you ever see like orbital diagrams or anything mentioning orbitals, these probability distributions where electrons are likely to spend their time, those are all manifestations of the wave behavior of an electron. So those are just a couple of things off the top of my head, but as far as the correct definition goes, I don't really have my dictionary. You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to get like a second phone, maybe something cheap, that I can like look stuff up or like monitor the chat or something while I'm doing this with my main phone. I think that'd be really cool, but I don't have that, and I've been spending a lot of money lately, so I don't really want to buy anything new. George Michael says electric boogie. Okay. That comment actually reminds me of that song by MGMT called Electric Feel. That's such a good, like, funky song. I love that song, man. If you've never heard that song before, I highly suggest you hop on YouTube and look it up. MGMT is the name of the band. The song is called Electric Feel. It's just a funky song. It'll put some wind in your sails. It'll put some bounce in your step. It'll get you in that groove to bang out a hard day's work. At least that's how it works on me. So, okay. Kai has joined us. Kai says hi. Kai says great song. Thank you, Kai. I certainly agree, and thank you for your continued support and participation. I really, really, really appreciate it. If memory serves me well, I believe you are located in California. Not trying to dox you, although California is a big state, so I wouldn't call that doxing. But how are things? How are things in the Golden State? I would love to know how y'all are doing. Not just Kai, but everybody. Love to know how everybody's doing. And of course, if you want to talk about anything in particular, you are welcome to chime in, make a statement, ask a question, do whatever you want. This is your opportunity to get whatever you want off your chest in a sophisticated yet unfiltered environment. Elmer's Mind Games says, do you listen to any podcasts / music on your way to work or while you work? Yeah, I do. Not so much podcasts. I kind of go through phases with podcasts where I'll listen to one really hard for like a few months. Like I'll catch like every episode, and then it'll kind of fall off and I'll go on to a next one. Like I used to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast like way back when it first started, like back in like 2009 or 2008, or I think it was like 2009 or 10 when it started. I used to listen to it back then. There was one that he had with Bill Burr. It was just hilarious. And then I also went through a long period of time where I listened to I listened to a podcast called Free Domain Radio. Now it's called Free Domain, with Stefan Molyneux. It's a philosophy channel. It's all about self-ownership, non-aggression principle, ethics, politics, like everything in between. It's a really good podcast. I don't listen to it a whole lot so much anymore. Like I said, I just kind of go through phases. Another one that I've listened to is the Dave Ramsey show. So Dave Ramsey is like this he's actually got a really, really big podcast. I think it's like one of the top podcasts. I mean, obviously like the Joe Rogan one's right up there too, but Dave Ramsey has a lot of like financial advice. So he tells people how to get out of debt and this and that, how to build wealth, how you should be, investing in your retirement and all that kind of stuff. And I listened to his podcast for a while. He's a very smart, very, very entertaining guy. As far as music goes, I've actually been enjoying some of the Dr. Disrespect songs that are on there. So like, it's like this like 80s sort of like techno wave sort of thing. I can't really describe like the genre of music, but it's really like, I don't know, it just kind of pumps me up. It's really good stuff. Like he has this one song that he came out with recently called Eclipse. That's really good. There's another one that he has called Alleyways. There's another one called Give 'Em the Love. So yeah, write those down or look those up. Eclipse, Alleyways, 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 or Give 'Em the Love. Those are all songs from Dr. Disrespect, and they're really good. I mean, they're really catchy tunes. They just, I don't know, they just do something to me. I don't know. George Michael asks, any TV shows you're into currently? Not really. I don't really have a lot of time to watch TV nowadays. Occasionally, like my wife and I, we occasionally watch like sitcoms together just to get like a nice cheap laugh. And our like two of our favorite sitcoms are How I Met Your Mother and Rules of Engagement. So we've been kind of like watching a lot of Rules of Engagement lately. It's on the Roku channel. So like we have a Roku TV. So they have this app called the Roku channel that has like a bunch of free stuff on it. And one of those is like a couple of seasons of Rules of Engagement are on there. And, one of the main characters, his name's Jeff Bingham, and he's played by this guy named Patrick Warburton. He actually does a lot of voice acting because his voice is amazing. He's just got like this deep voice, and he's like this really big guy. And he's got like one of the, like, I sometimes I just wish that I could just have his voice just for a day. Just let me borrow that voice for a day. I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, the guy can make anything funny just with his voice. And it's just a really good show. He does the voice for, I think, Joe in Family Guy, who's the, like the police officer, like the buff macho guy who's, paralyzed and, he's in a wheelchair and all that stuff. He's a really funny guy, Patrick Warburton. Let's see. So yeah, that's as far as TV shows, that's That's kind of what I'm doing lately. Just not very much though. I saw a comment earlier from Kai about how things are on the West Coast, but I'm not seeing it right now. I don't know what's going on. Let me. Okay, I see it now. I switched from top chat to live chat. Here it is. Kai says life on the West Coast has been pretty good. Why? How's your weekend been? Also, any thoughts on Hurricane Laura? Oh, yeah, I mean, to answer your question as to why, I was just curious, I just hope you're doing well and this and that. My weekend is just getting started. My daughter is turning 2 this weekend. So we're going to have a small little get together at a park that's just around the corner from our house this weekend. We're going to celebrate her birthday. It's funny because my daughter really likes videos that are produced by this guy. His name is Perry Grip. That's Parry is his first name. His last name is Grip. That's Gripp, Perry Grip. And there's this one song of his in particular. It's called Yum Yum Breakfast Burrito. And it's like this cartoon character like breakfast burrito that's like dancing around. And, from like early infanthood, my daughter has absolutely loved that song. Like you play that song and her face just lights up like, oh my goodness, it's breakfast burrito. And so it's funny because one of my coworkers, his mom actually has like a professional cookie baking business where she bakes like custom cookies and they look really good. And so I hired her to make some cookies. I had like she charges or sells her cookies by the dozen. So I got 6 cookies that have I wanted this breakfast burrito character, and then the other 6 cookies I wanted to be based on her favorite book, which is Fox in Socks by Dr. Seuss. And I don't know if you're familiar with that book, Fox in Socks by Dr. Seuss. It's it's a book for kids, but it's also like really hard to read. There's a lot of tongue twisters in it. So obviously it's just, to me, it's just really funny that the book that my daughter likes the most is the one that's just hardest for the parent to read. Of course, she likes to do things the hard way. So I got 6 breakfast burrito cookies and 6 Fox and Socks cookies. I picked them up last week and they are amazing. They look so good. She did such a good job. And so that's going to be like the highlight of her birthday party is like, she's going to have some breakfast burrito cookies and some Fox and Socks cookies. So yeah, it's shaping up to be hopefully a good weekend. Kai says, what about you? WBY means what about you? Sorry, that completely went over my head. I thought you just were trying to say the word Y and it was a typo. Okay, cool. Yeah, but yeah, things are good. Elmer's Mind Games says, I got to get going for an appointment. This is a good talk though. Peace. All right, man. Take it easy. Kai, you were asking about Hurricane Laura. Yeah, I mean, my in-laws live in Panama City, so they were kind of worried about it for a little while, but it sort of, it kind of hooked west and it's not really affecting them. So I'm glad they were able to dodge it. Obviously, anybody who's affected by it, massive amounts of sympathy. I've been through hurricanes before. They suck. Also, I heard that Hurricane Laura caused a fire and damaged some chemical plant in Louisiana, causing a huge leak of chlorine gas, which is devastating. So I hope everybody in that situation's okay. Kai says, my little cousin loves the taco song. It's funny because Perry Grip actually has a couple of taco songs. There's one of them called It's Raining Tacos, where he's like, how does it go? It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. Can you tell that I've heard these songs a lot? My daughter loves them. And who could forget such Perry Grip classics as Narwhal Eating a Bagel. Narwhal Eating a Bagel is another one that's like almost as popular with my daughter as the Yum Yum Breakfast Burrito. Narwhal eating a bagel, narwhal eating a bagel. And the songs are so catchy too, like they actually get stuck in my head. Oh, it's so funny. Being a parent is fun, man. I mean, I think parenthood is kind of like underrated. Like people talk about parenting is so hard, it's so stressful, and you got to clean shitty diapers and this and that. It's like, man, fuck all that. Like parenting is awesome. You know, anybody who has a decent partner, like obviously I would never recommend anybody being a single parent. I would recommend, you know, choose the right person with whom to have children. That's the biggest freaking piece of advice I could give anybody, is to choose the right person with whom to have children. But as long as you have that, as long as you have a good partner, man, parenting is a blast. I mean, of course, you know, there are, you know, kid gets sick, or, you know, kid falls down, or kid gets on your nerves or whatever here and there. But overall, like, I look back on the last 2 years of my daughter's life, which are the first 2 years of my daughter's life, as, you know, I mean, as far as parenting her, I mean, it's been wonderful. It's really been wonderful. Anton Tikkanen Fogelberg, I recognize your name. Welcome back. Says, hey, are you okay? Yes, I am doing well. Extremely tired and just busy as all get out, but I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. So thanks for asking. Thanks for checking in, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Kai says you should get a record deal for that. Thanks. Yeah, no, I suck at music. Well, I wouldn't say I suck at music, because I can play a couple of musical instruments. I can play guitar, I can play bass. I've been playing guitar for a very long time, so I definitely know my way around the fretboard. But as far as singing goes, not so good at it. I have, you know, dabbled in, you know, like when I was teaching high school, I actually wrote a song about thermochemistry and performed it live for my class on the day that my formal observation was scheduled. So it's like, you know, my supervising administrator was going to come in there with his iPad, and he was going to like check boxes and make sure I'm doing everything right and evaluate me. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to impress the fuck out of this motherfucker. And so I wrote a song and rehearsed it, and I even bought a new guitar because my old one was shitty, and I performed it the next day, freaking nailed it, and he was impressed. So it accomplished the goal. Oh man, that name is difficult for me to pronounce. I apologize for what I'm about to do to your, I apologize for butchering your name as I'm about to do. Jur Semotiuk says, hey, I'm a big fan. Can you mix ammonium and chlorine-based bleach together? Yeah, you can. However, I strongly recommend that you don't. If you do, you will release hydrogen chloride gas, HCl, which is a very, very toxic, very poisonous, very harmful gas. So please do me a favor and refrain from mixing ammonia. I assume you mean ammonia. Please refrain from mixing together bleach and ammonia, because it is it gives off some nasty stuff. It's not very good. So yes, it is possible to mix them, but do not do that, please. You know what? I don't like telling people what to do, but in this case, oh, he says it's just a joke. Okay, good one. Well, for anybody else in the chat, anybody else in the stream who is considering mixing together bleach and ammonia, don't do it. Kai says, I saw a clip by the YouTuber Keemster, and it summarizes how I feel about 2020. Everyone is helpless. Oh, okay. Yeah, send me a link to that. Do you mean, it says Keemster, do you mean Keemstar? Because I know who that is. I know who Keemstar is. Yeah, send me a clip. Send me a link to that clip. You know, I would love to watch it. I don't feel helpless. I feel pretty excited. I feel pretty empowered. You know, viewership, my growth on my YouTube channel is slowly on the rise. It's slowly going up. You know, I just surpassed the 62,000 subscriber mark. So to all of you who are subscribed, thank you very much. To all of you who are not subscribed, I would wholeheartedly appreciate it if you do. That would be great. But I just passed 62K after just hovering around 61 and some change for a very, very long time. So kind of got some wind in the sails, you know, so thank you guys for all your continued support. Jur says, I did a whole high school project on it. I'm assuming you're talking about the bleach and ammonia thing. Be careful. Well, I'm sure you were careful. Obviously, you survived. You're currently living to tell about it, but cool. That's very cool. That sounds like an interesting high school project. Interesting. Things that are dangerous are interesting. Kai says Keemstar from Drama Alert. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who Keemstar is. Yeah, send me the clip. That guy's pretty funny. Like I've seen some of his old stuff where he's just like trolling people and just getting into arguments with people, and just being like this obnoxious character, and it's funny. I think it's hilarious. But yeah. Anyway, you know what? I think I'm gonna hit the road. That doesn't mean I'm ending the stream, but I'm gonna put this car in gear and drive somewhere. And I think I'm gonna drive to the McDonald's to get a Coke. I really want some caffeine right now, and McDonald's Coke just sounds really good right now. So I think I'm gonna go to McDonald's to get a Coke. Kai says, "Let's get right into the news." Yeah. I've watched some of his stuff before. He's a funny guy. I'm not really huge into the whole like the people who are like super popular on YouTube. I think they're all kind of lame. I mean, obviously, like, to their credit, they did something to satisfy the marketplace and get such a large viewership. So, good on them for that. But personally, I just don't really find them that talented or that compelling or that interesting. I don't know. The people that Keemstar talks about, like the people that he covers, is just like, it just doesn't seem, except for Dr. Disrespect. I think he's pretty interesting, Dr. Disrespect. And all, of course, all the drama associated with him getting banned by Twitch, and then having this resurgence on YouTube. I mean, he was able to lock down like 510,000 concurrent viewers in his first stream since getting banned from Twitch. I mean, those are insane numbers. And I mean, that guy and his team, like, they do, I mean, it's just so, like, they're very creative. I have to give them props. It's like the level that they've taken streaming to. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, there's like a bunch of songs like I've talked about earlier, and all the all the graphics and production value and everything. It's really interesting, because like most of the time, people who stream on Twitch or whatever is just like, dude, or a chick, with the camera, pointed at her cleavage, playing a video game, and there's not much production value into it. But like Dr. Disrespect has just taken it to the freaking nth degree. I mean, he's just a cut above the rest in terms of entertaining. So yeah, man, he's an interesting guy. But yeah, all those other people that like that are like that always have these beefs or this drama or whatever. Like I don't really understand what's so interesting about them. But then again, I'm kind of a weird guy. I don't really think the way most people think. I don't think so. Jur says, "What's better, physics or chemistry?" Chemistry all day. Love chemistry. Of course, that's just my opinion, but I don't know. I think maybe if my circumstances were different and I had taken some physics in high school, and because like I didn't take physics in high school, and then my first physics class in college was this like physics with calculus, like physics for scientists and engineers, and there was a lot of like mathematics that I didn't understand yet, and I had to sort of try to learn them, and a lot of that physics stuff just sort of went way over my head. And the other thing too is that class was like a 1 day a week night class. So like, some of the classes at my university were like that, where it was like at night, and the class only met for once a week, but it was like a 3-hour class, and it was in this like big lecture hall that had like really bad acoustics. You couldn't hear very well. And I mean, those are all just excuses, but of course there are no excuses, but I just didn't have a really good, in my opinion, I just didn't really enjoy my sort of entry or introduction into physics. And so I never really like glommed onto it. I mean, obviously, I think physics is really cool in terms of like, all the cool stuff that can be done with it. All the physics-based toys like the Newton's cradle or the drinking bird or the gyroscope or the like I have a bunch of those toys, like those scientific toys, and it's funny because I always get them for my dad too, like for Christmas or his birthday or whatever, because my dad doesn't really have any hobbies. He just works a lot, so he he doesn't really use anything you get him. So the best toys for him are ones that he just doesn't have to do anything with. Like he just puts them on his desk, or his, he's got like this whole shelving unit that just has a bunch of gifts that he's gotten, just a bunch of cool little scientific toys and gadgets that just kind of work on their own. and that's what he likes. So, but yeah, from that standpoint, I really like physics. But as far as like studying it academically, like I didn't really like it compared to chemistry. The chemistry, I don't know, something about chemistry, like I could open up my chemistry textbook and just read it like a novel. Physics, it was such a chore. I had to really push myself to study it. I just didn't have like this natural, unexplainable fondness for it like I do with chemistry. Let's see. Kai says, is there an alternative way to avoid ice charts in chemistry beside the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation? Yeah, kinda. I mean, so it depends on. So I'm going to try to explain this without having any visuals, which is I'm foreseeing that to be quite a challenge. But ice is your initial values. The change is whatever is lost by the reactants and whatever is gained by the products, and then your equilibrium is everything that gets sort of plugged into the expression for the equilibrium constant. And it depends on so when I was studying chemistry, my chemistry textbook, the change was always represented by X. So like, for instance, in the case of the reactants, the initial concentration for the reactants, the change would be or the C, the C in ice that stands for change. The change for the reactants would be minus X, and the change for the products would be X or plus X, right? And so I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I'm sure you probably are, but if that value, if that X, if that change is small enough compared to the initial concentration, then it can be sort of neglected from the calculation when it comes to the initial concentration minus X. It's sort of like stepping onto a bathroom scale with a penny in your pocket. The penny in your pocket is not weightless, but it doesn't really change the value that you see when you step on a bathroom scale. And so if you can make that approximation, if that change is sufficiently small enough, then you can actually sort of have a formula that you can use to calculate what your equilibrium concentrations are, and you will avoid having to use the quadratic formula to solve for your equilibrium concentrations. I hope that makes sense. I know I may have lost you. I probably did, but maybe not though. I don't know. You're welcome to chime in and let me know if what I'm saying makes any sense. But yeah, you can sort of derive an expression for equilibrium concentrations. I think it's just going to be like the square root of your Ka times your initial concentration. But that only works if the X is small approximation is valid. If it's not valid, then you have to go through the rigmarole of using quadratic formula. What is it, like negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared over 4ac or something like that? I can't remember. It's been a while. No, it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's the quadratic formula. Man, it's been a while since I've really had to use that, but let me see if I can read some chat. Let's see. Okay, so Jur is asking, or he says, I pretty much like all the sciences. Going into grade 12, how hard in your opinion is organic chemistry? Because everyone says it's hard. Yeah, I mean, it can be, I don't know. It just kind of depends on what your natural strengths and weaknesses are. I don't think it was as hard to me as it was for other people. I mean, not that I'm some genius, but I just think that I have sort of a learning style that was kind of more compatible with organic chemistry and other things. But yeah, I mean, relative to general chemistry, like, yeah, it's harder, it's more advanced, there's some more advanced concepts in there. You might have to do a little bit more memorizing sort of, like for instance, like a bunch of alkene reactions. Alkenes are organic molecules that have carbon-carbon double bonds in them, and there's a lot of reactions that alkenes can undergo to produce a bunch of different products depending on what sort of reagents and conditions you expose them to. But, you know, it's just like I always say, you know, just study hard, do your practice problems, do them over and over and over again, visit your professors during office hours, you know, and you'll be okay. Davis John says, do you know how to make meth like they do in Breaking Bad? No, I've never looked into that. I'm trying to think. There may have been a project involving making it in, I think in the forensics program at my college, there were a few experiments that were done that involved like making methamphetamine. I guess, I don't know, like they just want to really be familiar with like the drugs that they're, you know, that are illegal, that they're trying to get off the street or whatever. So for some reason they, you know, they show you how it's made. But no, I mean, I know basic organic chemistry, and as Walter White says in Breaking Bad, it's just basic chemistry. So you can, you know, I could figure it out. I'm sure if I looked into it, I could figure it out. It's just, you know, obviously I don't really have any desire to do that. Even though it might be easy money, right? Yeah, I don't have any desire to get into making methamphetamine, but, and I don't know how off the top of my head, but I'm sure I could figure it out. That's the cool thing about chemistry. The cool thing about chemistry is that, you know, like it's not really about memorization, you know, like a history class where you have to remember, like, you know, what year did, you know, William Randolph Hearst do this, blah blah blah. What year did, you know, did Rockefeller do his big business deal? It's like you don't. It's not a bunch of random facts that you just have to memorize. It's principles. I mean, yeah, okay. With chemistry, there is some memorization, but you know, mostly, especially with organic chemistry, there's just like principles. And once you understand the principles, then you can sort of apply them to a particular, to like any particular situation. So that's kind of what I like about chemistry. It's not as much like memorization. It's just like, you know, you get these tools and then you use those tools to fix a wide variety of problems. So another question I just saw says, okay, Kai asks me, have you done a video on it yet? The Ka, Kb, and Kw values? No, I have not. And I need to. I definitely need to. It is on the list, believe me. A few months ago, I put out a poll asking the audience what kind of topic they'd be interested in. I listed, I think, 5 categories, and among those 5 categories, the category with the highest number of votes was chemical bonding. So things like, you know, like what I'm doing right now. My next video is going to be about bond energy, which I think it's going to be good. I'm almost done writing the script. Hopefully, I'll be able to shoot it and edit it pretty soon. And other things, you know, like Vesper theory, molecular shapes, valence bond theory, hybridization, all that stuff, molecular orbital theory. Those are the topics that, according to that poll that I put out there, those are the topics that my audience wants to see the most. But there were some votes for, you know, kinetics and equilibrium and acid base and stuff like that. There's so much content that I still haven't made yet that I would love to make, and I'm going to eventually. It's just, you know, it's just hard to find the time, of course. You know, there's only so much time I have in the day available between working and doing household chores, doing household projects, you know, playing with my daughter, taking care of what my daughter needs and this and that. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but no, unfortunately, I don't have any videos on that. I'm sure, you know, the internet is not short of videos on that. If you need videos on that, I'm sure you could probably look up, like, you know, I'll just give a shout out to Melissa Maribel because she was really, really nice and agreed to do a public conversation with me, and we talked a little bit off camera, and she's really awesome. So, you know, look up Melissa Maribel. You know, she's got a bunch of great content. I'm sure she's got some equilibrium stuff. So that's where, you know, among other channels, like she would be probably one of the top ones that I would send people, you know, who, you know, if they're interested in something and I don't have a video on it, it's like, go check out her channel. You should subscribe to it. It's awesome. She's great. And we had a nice conversation. So if you guys want to check that out, look up my videos. It's called Chatting with Melissa Maribel, and it's a good conversation. Learning more about her and how she works. It's pretty cool. very, very eye-opening. Because I've always sort of asked myself the question, like, man, would I ever gather up the guts to like quit my full-time job and just go into doing my YouTube videos and my online education and maybe selling my own educational products? But I've never had the guts to do that. So she does have the guts. She did do that. So that's actually pretty inspiring. So I'm about to order a Coke real quick here at McDonald's. Hi, could I just get a large Coke, please?
A large Coke.
Yes, ma'am. Just a large Coke.
Two large Coke.
Just one, actually.
Oh, one. Be 110.
Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for staying with me and not tuning out. I appreciate it. Pull the chat back up, see if anybody said anything. Okay. Davis asked, did I do chemistry research in college? Yes, I did. I didn't really go anywhere. Like I didn't really like finish anything. I was just doing some like structural reactivity relationships with some organofluorine compounds. So nothing super groundbreaking, and I didn't really make a lot of progress on it. But yeah, I did a little bit. I had to write a research report as it was a requirement to graduate. So yeah, I got a little bit of undergraduate research under my belt. No publications to my name. I wasn't really that good of a researcher back then. But yeah, I did. Jur asks, what is or was your major in university? My major was chemistry. I started out as a biology major, and then I switched to chemistry my sophomore year, and I graduated with it. Kai says that interview was really good. I think you guys ended the conversation a little early. And yeah, I mean, there's certainly like you might say that, and I certainly understand where you're coming from saying that. I mean, there's obviously like a lot more stuff to talk about, but hey, I mean, that just kind of opens the gate for another one, right? We can save all those things that weren't brought up or that didn't come up for another chat, for another interview. So yeah, I mean, maybe the conversation did end early. I think if memory serves me well, I was kind of just sort of blanking on questions to ask at that point. I'm sure if I waited long enough, I could have like come up with some more questions to ask and just like edited out sort of the downtime of me trying to figure out questions to ask. But also too, like she's really, really, really busy, and she spent a lot of time, like it was a decent chunk of time out of her day to join me. She installed Discord on her computer just to do the interview with me. So like, the way I saw it is I just really wanted to respect her time. I didn't want to keep her going for a super long time because I know, she probably just wanted to get back to work. Although, I've talked to her a little bit in the Instagram DM since then, and she said it was a lot of fun and this and that, and so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have have met her. And she also said something during the conversation about, potentially inviting me to like some conferences or something like EduCon or something, which I didn't even know was a thing. And then she also suggested that I apply for the YouTube Next Up competition, which I think is anybody who has between 10,000 and 100,000 subscribers is technically eligible, although they have separate categories for like minorities and women and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, I'm a heterosexual white dude, so I probably won't get any handouts, but that's just how it goes, I guess. But even though I, didn't exactly have everything in my life handed to me on a silver platter, and I have experienced very, very hard and very, very, very painful times in my life. Not going to go into detail on those, at least not yet. Not comfortable talking about that at this time, but yeah, it's just amazing to just have all these assumptions about you based on the color of your skin and your sexual orientation. There's a word for that. I'm kind of blanking on it. I'll leave you to figure that one out. All right, I'm done ranting about that. But yeah, you're right though. The conversation, it was, I actually lost track of time. Like in that conversation, I remember saying, are we like an hour in? But we were only like 49 minutes in or something like that at that point. But yeah, I just wanted to respect her time.
How you doing, Lawrence?
Hi, yes ma'am. Here you go.
Have a good one.
Thank you, you too. All right. Oh no, I lost some viewers. Sorry guys. I had to pay for my Coke that I'm ordering from McDonald's. My bad. Didn't mean to lose you. Suryansh Rajput says love from India. Much love right back at you. Thanks for joining the stream. Never been to India before, but I think it'd be nice to go. Especially during the time where they're like throwing colored powder at each other. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to just throw colored powder at random strangers. I think that'd be a good time. I saw that in a movie once. I can't remember what the movie was called, but I thought that was pretty cool. Everybody just takes a handful of some kind of dye powder and everybody just throws it at each other. Oh, that'd be fun. What a great tradition. That's really cool. Also, India is like my second country as far as like, my demographics. Occasionally I'll look at my analytics and I'll see, demographics by country, and like the top one is the United States. That's where I get most of my viewers. Makes sense because I'm American, but the next one is not Canada. It's not anywhere in Europe. It's India. So I do appreciate all the love and support that I get from Indian folks. Love you guys. Haven't had a whole lot of bad experiences in my life with people of Indian descent. Most of them have been really, really cool. So, right on. Trying to scroll through the chat and make sure I answered every question that I was asked. Kai said BDE equals bond breaking minus bond formation. Yep, definitely going to go over that. Definitely going to go over that topic in my next video. So I'm excited about it. I hope I can get some good viewership for my next video. Lately my educational videos haven't really been doing super well views wise compared to some of my other videos, like my live stream clips and stuff.
Marco?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Educational videos haven't really been doing super well compared to, to some of the other content that I've put out there, like clips from my live stream. Like my last video that I uploaded was a clip from my live stream, basically just giving my thoughts about, teachers who are, super reluctant or like refusing to go back to work. And that video got, more hits in its first couple of hours than, a lot of my educational videos are in their first couple of days. So, it's just like, I don't want to just turn into a YouTuber that just talks shit all the time. I don't want to do that. My main objective is to educate the world with chemistry, but I think every content creator faces the dilemma of, making content that's going to attract attention and, doing actually what you want to do. So hopefully if I can, sort of strike that balance and make the content that people want to see, and then maybe use that to sort of lure in people to my educational content, I think that would be a decent strategy. Oh, that's good. Oh man. One of my guilty pleasures, among others, is Coca-Cola. I absolutely enjoy it. McDonald's Coke in particular is really good compared to other kinds of Coke. I actually know why too. One of the interns at the lab where I used to work explained it to me why McDonald's Coke tastes differently from other Coke, like from other restaurants and stuff. Apparently, it's because, Coca-Cola has these instructions on how the concentrate, how the syrup, before it gets mixed with the carbonated water, Coca-Cola has instructions on how that should be stored and how it should be shipped. And apparently, it's supposed to be shipped at a specific temperature, like lower than ambient temperature. And McDonald's is the only restaurant that ships their syrup out on refrigerated trucks, keeping the temperature at that optimal range the entire time. Nobody else does it. I guess McDonald's just like, they have like the money, they have this economies of scale, they can afford to do it. Nobody else does it. So that's what I've been told as to why McDonald's Coke tastes so good and other places Coke doesn't. Although I'll drink Coke just about anywhere. I enjoy Coca-Cola. There's another chat message. It says, you should maybe make more clips, but based on chemistry, stuff like why mixing ammonia and chlorine isn't a good idea. Yeah, I've thought about that, and I have been, like, I don't know, I think you commented on it. I uploaded a video. I basically found a video of myself from a long time ago testing out a chemical reaction that was on display as the unity ceremony at my wedding. And so, like, I was able to sort of tie in the chemistry to something that looked cool that people could like be interested in. So I definitely agree with you. I think that's a great idea. I just have to just be more creative and sort of come up with the ideas of sort of what reactions I would talk about, or like what demonstrations I would perform, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just lessons and nothing else is. There's a lot of, like, because the thing is that, like, the internet and YouTube, they're not exactly short of people producing chemistry lessons. I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of channels, and they're all kind of going over the same stuff. So, if I want to do better views-wise, I have to do something unique, which is one of the things I was talking to Melissa about. Melissa and I didn't really seem to see super like eye to eye on that point. Like, she's all about the education. She's all about, just getting right down to business, which I totally respect that. I appreciate that point of view. I really do. She doesn't like to use jokes or anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, I've actually been thinking about doing like more jokes, and so I just thought that was kind of funny. Different philosophies. Kai says their Sprite is awful. I'm assuming you're referring to McDonald's. Yeah, I've never really been a big fan of Sprite unless I'm like sick or nauseous or something. I want to kind of settle my stomach with some carbonated beverage. Sprite's pretty good for that. Natsu Dragneel, sorry, I'm trying to pronounce your name. I'm not doing a great job, I'm sorry. Says, hey, your videos are so cool. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you for your support. I don't know if you guys know just how much of an effect those kind of comments have. I mean, they really do help to sort of put the wind in the sails, because, it's not miserable, but it's, it's pretty challenging, It's raising a 2-year-old. My daughter's turning 2 this weekend, and, raising a 2-year-old, trying to keep this, 40-year-old house from falling apart, getting ready to welcome another little girl into the world. It's challenging times, and so it's easy to get burned out and exhausted. But when I read comments like that, like, hey, your videos are so cool, like even something as seemingly simple as that, it really, really, really means a lot to me. So thank you so much. It says, happy early birthday for your daughter. Thank you. I will tell her you said so. Yeah. It's been an interesting 2 years. Very, very interesting 2 years. A lot of peaks and valleys. A lot of good times, a lot of really bad times. But I think I've emerged from it a better man, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. Very excited. Just around the corner from my house now. Got off early today. Not sure what I'm going to do when I get home. I'm sure the wife will give me a list of things to do when I get home. Maybe not, though. Maybe she won't even be home. I know she was going to take my daughter somewhere. I think she's making some kind of poster with like family photographs on it or something. So she's got to pick up the photographs and all that good stuff. Yeah, Natsu asks, you got any new videos coming out? Yeah, I can't tell you exactly when, because I'm still in the early stages of making my next educational video, but I'm going to try to put it out there as soon as possible. I'm sort of shooting for like middle of the week next week. I would like to have it done. It's going to be about bond energy. So, you know, it's funny because I did a little bit of research looking at other YouTubers who do chemistry, and they have, like, almost all of them have sort of coupled the topics together of bond energy and bond length. Like you look up almost any YouTube video on bond energy, like it's going to be like not just bond energy, but it's going to be bond energy and bond length. So I'm hoping to sort of treat them individually. Like I think I'm going to do like one video for bond energy, and then the following video will be just exclusively for bond length, which I think is the right approach. I think making 2 videos instead of 1 is the better approach. Obviously, like, bond length and bond energy are highly related, so there will be some knowledge that sort of overlaps between the 2 videos, or some sort of knowledge from the bond energy video that needs to be applied to the bond length video. So I'll have to sort of, overlap them a little bit, but I don't know. I hope they do well. You never really know, As a YouTuber, I haven't been able to figure out which videos are going to really take off and do really well. I mean, I uploaded a very simple 4-minute long video on interference and diffraction of waves, and that video has like hundreds of thousands of hits. I did not expect that. It's just, I can't figure it out what it is that will make a video grow like that, make the viewership grow like that. So given that I can't figure it out, I think my best approach is to just make a video for as many topics as I can, just pump out as much as I can, constantly mix up my style, my delivery, my analogies, my jokes, this and that, and eventually you'll land on something that people will like. I think at least that's the approach I'm sticking to. Check the chat again just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Kai says, what religion do you follow, or are you agnostic? About that, I'll try to answer your question, and my answer might seem like a non-answer. It might seem like I'm avoiding the question, but I don't think I'm avoiding the question. So, like, when you say religion, people often think about what someone believes. Oh, this is what I think. This is what I believe. And in my opinion, there's much more to a religion than belief. I think personally, I believe that actions are far more important than beliefs. So, for instance, I go to church. I haven't gone in a while because the church has been, shut down. But my wife and I, we go to church, and necessarily believe that, a man lived inside of a fish for 3 straight days. But in the end, I don't think that matters because, in going to church, we surround ourselves with, kind, virtuous, family-oriented people, charitable people, who, have our back if we ever have a problem. If we have an emergency, they will help. In fact, there's some people from our church that are going to help watch my daughter when my second daughter is born, because we don't have any family who can get up here fast enough if my wife starts going into labor. So, I go to church, and I'm just not that concerned about what people believe. It's like, if someone just says that they believe in God, but, they go out and do all these heinous things, if they steal from people, if they hurt people, if they're mean to people, then, why would that person get treated better than someone who says, oh, well, I'm not sure what I believe, but they're actually kind and charitable and nice, and, they don't steal, and they give to charity and this and that. So I understand that you might think that that's not really an answer, but, I think that for the most part, Judeo-Christian principles are a good thing. I think they are, I think they're one of the reasons why America has has become the success that it has over the last couple of hundred years, or the last couple of centuries. So, so yeah, I mean, that's basically my thoughts on that topic. Natsu says a lot of people like experimental videos, like hands-on stuff. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, and I should find a way to do more of that stuff. You're totally right. So Kai says, so you're apathetic, apatheism, not atheist, right? I honestly don't know what I mean, apathy tends to imply that you're like nihilistic or you don't give a shit. Like, you know, I wouldn't say that, although I don't know what definition, like, I don't know what apatheism means, if it has some other definition that I've never heard of. But, you know, I'm not apathetic. I mean, I think it's, you know, I just think actions are more important than beliefs. You know, like, for instance, you know, I was helping somebody move. This stranger asked me to come help him move, and so, you know, it was right after I got home from work, and I was just really tired. But, you know, I was like, okay, I was walking my dog. It's like, okay, I'll put my dog away inside, and I'll come help. And then I come help him for a little bit, and these two Mormons show up on their bicycles, as Mormons, you know, tend to do. They tend to ride bikes, and they started helping out, and, you know, they were just really nice people. And, you know, at the end of the day, I don't really care that they think that, you know, Native Americans were actually white people from Jerusalem. You know, I don't care if they think that Jesus Christ lived in North America. I don't, you know, what difference does that make? I mean, what does make a difference is what they are doing, what their actions are, which are, you know, they're kind, they're virtuous. They give a lot to charity. I think Utah, which has a large Mormon population, gives the highest percent of its income to charity. Natsu says, LOL, the Mormons here never ride bikes. XD, I don't know where that comes from. Oh, well, I mean, every time I see Mormons, they're always in twos. They always travel 2 by 2, and I always see them riding bicycles, and they have helmets and everything. But they're all like super nice, cool, pleasant people, even though they believe some pretty wackadoodle shit. But who cares? I mean, believe what you want. I mean, I just care about what you do, because belief is like, there's really no null hypothesis with belief. You know, if someone says they believe in something, how do you know that they really do? Only they know what's really going on in their head. So belief is like, you kind of have to take somebody at their word if they tell you that they believe in something, because you never really know. There's really no objective criteria for measuring that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole religion thing. You know, I don't know. I usually don't like talking about that much because it's kind of dicey territory with some people. You know, like, that's what people always say is, like, you know, the two topics that you should never bring up and keep to yourself are religion and politics. You know, everything else is on the table. But of course, you know, I'm kind of an open book, so I don't really give a shit. Like, I'll talk to you guys about whatever you want to talk about. So for the most part, I mean, there might be some topics that, you know, I don't want to, like, get demonetized for talking about them or anything like that. So I can't say that I'm completely, like, you know, I don't give a shit and I'm completely unfiltered and I'll just talk about anything. But for the most part, you know, I'll keep it real. So Natsu says, do you like video games? Yeah, I like video games. Yeah, my three. I'll give you my three my three favorite video games of all time. Here they are, in no particular order. One of them, Donkey Kong Country 2: Diddy Kong's Quest. Great game, and especially the music of that game is phenomenal. The composer of the music, his name's Dave Wise, and he's a freaking genius when it comes to, you know, composing, like, you know, a score, like a musical instrumental track that really, like, captures the feel of, like, being underwater, or like in a swamp, or, you know, like up high in these, like, tall trees or whatever. Like, Donkey Kong Country 2, amazing game. The other another one of my favorite, the other game in my favorite, my top three is it's called SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs, SOCOM 2 U.S. Navy SEALs. It was not super long after like online gaming sort of started, and it was just so much fun. It was competitive. It was third-person shooters, which I love. I love third person. I hate first person. I like to know where I am. I want to know where my body is. I don't like running and gunning. I like things that are tactical, like stealth, you know, communicating with your teammates. There was no respawn. You die and you're dead until the end of the round, and then, you know, you don't come back until the next round. And so it could be like just you versus like four guys, and then occasionally you might be able to pull off, you know, not popping off all four of them and winning it for your team, and everybody's watching you. And it was just such a great game. And then the third one in my top three video games is the Little Big Planet series. Love Little Big Planet. I mean, it's such an amazing game, especially like as a creator. Like the tools that they give you to create levels is just insane. You can build like anything you want. It's amazing. I actually created my own Little Big Planet level back when I was in college. It's called Chem Quiz. I actually uploaded a YouTube video on it at least a year ago, something like that, maybe even longer ago. I uploaded a YouTube video where it was like just like a walkthrough of my Little Big Planet level. So if you're interested in a level, or looking at the Little Big Planet level that I created that's based on chemistry, I would highly recommend checking that out. It was fun to make the level, although it was pretty tedious at times, but it was fun to sort of make that walkthrough video and tell you guys about it. So pretty cool. Kai says, so like Jesse Lee says, there are no isms, only good and evil, right? Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Pollux Regulus says, okay, I guess I'll never know. I don't know what you're talking about. If you could, I don't know, maybe elaborate on that statement, that okay, I guess I'll never know. I don't know what you're talking about. Could you elaborate on that, please? I'd appreciate it. Kai says, what about Rocket League? Oh, dude, Rocket League's awesome. I love Rocket League. But, you know, I think a game has to age for a while before I can really put it into my top three. You know what I mean? Like a game has to really, you know, I have to have that sort of nostalgia cycle with it before I can like claim that it's the best of all time. But yeah, Rocket League is an amazing game. It's definitely in the top, easily in the top 10 for sure. Natsu says, mine would be 2005 Star Wars Battlefront 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Destiny 1. Yeah, those are all good games. He says, I like Little Big Planet, but I wasn't able to play much of it. Oh, that's too bad. It was a fun game. Yeah, so my Little Big Planet level was pretty interesting because like the way that you progress through the levels, you have to like answer chemistry questions correctly. And if you don't answer them correctly, then it kills you in a unique way and you have to respawn at the checkpoint. Oh, I'm sorry, Pollux. So Pollux asked me a question, and I guess I just overlooked it in the chat. I apologize, Pollux. Pollux Regulus says, you missed my question. It went like, how do I make, quote, chemistry with girls? I don't know, man. I've been out of the dating game for a long time. I've been out of the, you know, picking up girls game for a long time. You know, I would say, you know, there's a couple of basic things that you can do. Number one is make sure your hygiene's good. You know, make sure, you know, everything's sort of, you know, cleaned up, that you don't stink, you know, or anything like that. So that's kind of number one. You know, I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of personality you have. But, you know, just kind of being like, you know, confident, having a smile on your face, that kind of thing, is a good precursor to you know, meeting somebody who could be a potential candidate for a long-term relationship. What else? And also, you know, work on your physique. You know, hit the gym. You know, hit the kettlebells. You know, hit the treadmill. I don't know what your body, you know, type is, but you know, like it's true. Whoops. Somebody sent me a DM or a friend request on Facebook. Sorry about that. yeah, it's what was I saying? Yeah, like, physical attractiveness is an important aspect of attractiveness. I'm not going to lie to you. Of course it is. Of course it is. So it says, heck, I don't even know where to meet girls. Well, the internet has made it, easier now than ever before. So, you can find like, I know on Facebook and stuff like that, they have groups where you can sort of like join a group with sort of like-minded people who have sort of similar interests, and you can, like they have like meetup events and stuff like that. Obviously, like you want to do it safely, like meet in a public place. Don't give out your, too much information. Like initially, like you just take it slow, and you can, and also like it depends on how old you are too. Because if you're old, like I don't know, I don't want to say old because I don't want to be like a dick about it, but like if you're getting up there in age, or like the woman that you're going after, or the type of woman that you're sort of interested in is kind of up there in age, and you like want to have kids, like there's a biological clock that's ticking, and so you don't have as much time to sort of let the dream woman come to you. You kind of have to like be more assertive and active, and you have to be faster and more upfront about what you want and what you're looking for in the relationship. But yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just not the best person to ask, because I'm 30 years old now, and I've been with my wife since like 2006, and it's 2020 now. So it's been like, roughly 14 years that I've been, with the same woman. So I never really had that sort of single bachelor, thing going where I'd like hit the clubs and try to pick up girls and stuff like that. Like I completely bypassed that. I completely, some would say missed out on that part of my life. Although, in my opinion, and a lot of people would agree, I got something much better in return. Beautiful, wonderful family. Second daughter on the way. Couldn't be more stoked. And a lot of these people that, partied it up or, went through a lot of girls back then don't seem to be so happy now. Joke's on them. But let's see. Natsu says, what's your favorite element? I'd say mine would be uranium or phosphorus. I don't know. I like mercury a lot. Mercury, I mean, it's just liquid metal. It just reminds me of Terminator 2. It's so cool. I like mercury. From a practical point of view, I'd probably say carbon. Yeah, mercury and carbon are among my favorites. Now, here's what you do if you want to attract a woman. Go up to her house or wherever she lives, or just wherever she is. Get a really loud Bluetooth speaker, connect it to your phone, and play "Give 'Em the Love" by Dr. Disrespect. It's like, give 'em the love tonight. I'm way off key there. Never said I was good at singing, but that song is just I don't know what it is about like this Dr. Disrespect song. They're just hilarious, and they're good. Like I actually like, I enjoy the beat of those songs. But Natsu says, I'd say everyone loves carbon. Yeah, and if you don't, you ought to, right? Necessary for life. Very important. Sorry, I'm chewing ice. It's a bad habit. Okay, I swallowed it. Kai says, don't do it, bollocks. Yeah. I'm just demonstrating how not the right person to give advice on this topic I really am. But I think some of the earlier things that I said are very valid. Hygiene, get in shape, because like exercising is not only going to like improve your appearance, but it's also going to like improve your demeanor and your attitude. I would say posture is also pretty important. Stand up straight, put your shoulders back. If you're all like slouched over, it's like people pick up on body language. I think it's like 80% of language is nonverbal. Like, of all the communication that you do with people, the vast majority of it isn't even with words. And I think that's that's an important observation to make in all this. So, of course, you could always just, hit up Tinder and, see what kind of species you can find on there. Although, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend. I think when it comes to like online dating services, I think like the ones that you have to pay for, like eHarmony or whatever, like I think those are pretty legit because like by paying for it, you're kind of like filtering out the trolls. Like you're filtering out the people who aren't serious about it. People are kind of like they're serious. They're really putting their money where their heart is. They really want this to work. So Kai says, is it true that after 20 years of marriage, couples, quote, fall out of love? I don't know. I'll get back to you in 15 years. Because I'm 5 years. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like to me, like the most important aspect of marriage is children. Children obviously need a very, very large amount of time and resources to raise properly. I am of the opinion that no single parent can possibly do a good job. I think they can do the best job that they can, but I don't think the best job that a single parent can do is a good job. I think that it absolutely takes two parents to do a good job parenting. And if you don't agree with me, just try having a child, and you'll either have a partner and you'll think, oh my God, I wouldn't know what I would do if I didn't have you to help out, or you'll be on your own and you'll be freaking miserable. So. And I haven't been miserable. We've really enjoyed parenting. It's been good because like when she's super tired, she can tag me in. When I'm like super tired, I can tag her in, and it's a team. It's a team. But yeah, as far as like falling out, I mean, I don't know. I like I said, I think the most important aspect of marriage is raising children. That's the reason why marriage exists. It's not so that people can just get lost in love and just, drift off into the sunset on a happy cloud. It's so that, it's because children who are raised in two-parent households statistically are much better off than children who are raised in single-parent households. And so by making a commitment to somebody and being in a monogamous pair-bonded relationship, that provides the best likelihood of success for your children. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, after the children grow up and leave the nest, the parents kind of forget what it's like to be without children. And sometimes that does introduce some friction into relationships. And parents might divorce as a result of that, which sucks. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. 20 years, I mean, like, I've seen couples that were married for like 50 years and they're still doing well. I mean, they're old as fuck, but like, but they're still doing well. Like they're still into each other, and it's a good team and all that stuff. Okay, so Natsu says, gotta go, but it was cool chatting. Keep it up with the cool videos, bro. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your participation, and I hope to see you again very soon. Have a good one. And then Kai says, but a paid dating site doesn't assure you a soulmate. Well, of course, you're never assured anything. You're never guaranteed anything. Even if you do everything right, you're never guaranteed anything. But it's about odds. It's about odds. It's about doing what you can to stack the odds in your favor. And I'm not suggesting necessarily to join an online dating site. I'm just going to say, all I'm saying is that, if you are trying to go the online route, a paid site is probably more likely to get you paired with somebody who is, likely to be on the same wavelength as you or committed to having a long-term relationship than something like Tinder. That's all I'm trying to say. Not that it would guarantee you anything. I just think it's more likely to produce the desired result. Anyway. I think I'm going to end the stream here. It has been fun chatting with you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. So Kai asked me another question. I'll answer it real quick before I go. How did you and your wife meet for the first time? Well, you know, so we went to the same high school. She was actually a grade higher than me. We met when she was a junior and I was a sophomore, and we worked at the same barbecue restaurant. That's how we met. Was we worked at the same barbecue restaurant, the only barbecue restaurant in town. Small town, very, very small town that we grew up in, or that I grew up in. She's her family's bounced all around Florida, but because her dad's in the Park Service, and you know they've lived in a lot of different places. But yeah, that's how we met, just from work. So I must have had good game back then because I smelled like a freaking dumpster in the back of that kitchen, and I was still able to land a date with my wife, with what would eventually be my wife. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, all right. Kai says he's got to go. All right. Thanks, you guys. I really, really appreciate the support. This has been a very fun stream. Thank you. And don't forget, if you haven't already, I got some social media profiles that you can follow if you like. I've got Facebook. I've got Twitter. I've got Instagram. I've got a Discord. The links to all of those can be found at the top of my channel page. There's a channel banner at the bottom right-hand corner of that banner. You can find links to all of them: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my Discord. So thanks again, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Next educational video on bond energy is coming out very soon.